We are so happy to share with you tonight a wonderful guest, Sherri Beall, who will be sharing a bit with us about her life experience, her family, and a little bit of everything in between. She is the mother of 4. She is a grandmother. She is a pastor's wife. I would say a pastor's wife is really a pastor's right hand as well. And I would just love, Sherri, for you to share a bit with us about anything you'd like. Sure. Tell us about yourself.
Wow, where to start? Yes, multifaceted, I would say. I am a mother of 4. My oldest son is in Afghanistan right now. He is deployed. He has 3 little ones, and his wife is carrying the load, but doing a really great job. My second son is a teacher, and my daughter is a teacher. And I am in my 35th year of teaching, so I am 2 years away from retirement. And it is my calling. It is something that up and down, I've been in a lot of rough schools, primarily struggling places, and that has always been my calling. I attended college with my husband, and from there we went to seminary. So I got a minor in religion so that we could kind of take classes together. Never was really able to use it. I know. It was like, had no idea what I was doing, but it was worth it though. It was fun to kind of get to know his side of what he was going into. Mm-hmm. So then he went into the ministry and I went into public school education. So it's kind of been, I've never really gotten to use my minor in the education side of it, but yeah, and then we went to seminary together, and then started having our children when we came back here to Florida. So we've been here in Florida, oh my goodness, 33 years. My oldest son will be 33. So yes, we've been here, and he was on staff at several churches here in Miami, worked for the Miami Baptist Association, and now he works up in Daytona. So we are kind of split half the week. So my role as a pastor's wife is a little bit different. It's kind of a long distance support system. Yes. He goes up there half the week, I stay here, and then he comes back home and works from home the other half of the week. So we've been doing that for 10 years. We thought this was going to be a short term. We actually moved our whole family up there, thinking that was going to be our relocation. And my youngest son is severely autistic. When we got up there, they did not have the services. My husband brought him his lunch one day, he had forgotten it, and Daniel was roaming the campus. So we thought, oh, goodness, this is not what we had been promised. So we packed back up. I called an old principal. She had a science coach position. I am, by trade, a transformation reading coach. So science was out of my wheelhouse. But, for the family, I took one and learned something new. So we relocated, and we've been back here almost 10 years now. And we've been doing this split thing. So, yeah. I mean, the first 20 years of ministry, we were side by side, and I was the Sunday school teacher that nobody knew, and like you said, kind of lost in that second role. But, we've made it work. We've been a really strong team over the years. But, and then again, teaching is something that even though I'll retire, I probably will come back and do something part-time or just take my own classroom and not. Right. And then, my kids, and again, my youngest he's getting older and things are going to change for him. He's going to end up, going down a different path. He's just gotten to the place where being at home is not the right placement. So, we are just going with the flow. We just bought a house. 20 years ago, we owned our first house, sold that because my husband was going to start a church. We were going to do a church plant, and that's when Daniel was diagnosed. So everything kind of stopped. Okay. And we have been renting ever since. So we have worked on this house for 2 years, and God saw fit to give it to us. I mean, we thought it was going to fall apart again, and we closed Thursday, and we're moving in today. So,
congratulations.
It's lots of miracles going on. Yes.
That's wonderful.
Yes, I think God's teaching me to wait and be patient, because I want to do things, and I'm active and take charge, and I think He's taught me, you know what? Time is not a bad thing. You've got to do it in my time and in my way. I'm never too old to learn those lessons, I guess.
Absolutely. Those that wait on the Lord will renew their strength.
Yes. Well, He's going to have to give me some strength. I was telling my kids today, this moving at our age it's not for the faint of heart. 10 years ago, it was easy. Today, I'm not moving real well.
Yeah. Well, you talk about, having taken a course in religion and getting your minor and going into ministry. I would say you have used it. You've applied everything you learned from religion, while maybe not in the actual teacher setting that you're in, but absolutely in Bible study and everything else that you bring to everyone around you. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and I do feel that every group of kids I've ever had, they have been my prayer request. I pray for them all. I know that I'm the one that is in their classroom with them for that year, and truly try to make it my ministry as much as you can. And I tell them all the time, I'm praying for you. I know you're not supposed to do that, but I do, because I believe, that I'm with those kids for that 1 year, and that's the difference that I have to make.
Yes, and while you can't bring it into the classroom, you can absolutely pray for them.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And can you share with us what it's like? There are a lot of ladies in our audience who may be looking at having to have a split time, right? Where either they are going to have to go away somewhere to work, or their husband's going to have to go away somewhere to work. Especially now, right? What tips do you have for them for being able to make it work?
You have to communicate. You have to stay on the same page. You have to, that old adage of don't go to bed angry, don't leave things unsaid. Because he'll leave and then he's gone for 4 days.
Right.
So if something isn't right, that's 4 days of unsettlement. So we've learned, we're both very independent people, so that helps a little bit too. I'm not overly reliant on him, and he's not overly, so we kind of lead our own separate lives, but
Right.
a lot of prayer, a lot of praying for each other, just again, staying on that same page and just staying strong together. And right now it's hard because and then I know of a lot of couples who are now working at home together.
Right.
And that's tough too.
That
Being in the
tough.
same building together. So Marty and I have done that because we did teach last spring from home. I had a 4th grade class that I was in charge of. And he, when he was home, was doing his ministry via Zoom. And that actually was a little harder
Right.
than being split. It's like trying to share that space,
Yes.
and I'm loud. You can ask my daughters. They close the door. I'm a very loud teacher, and I enunciate everything. And she's like, "Oh my gosh, Mommy, really?" But so I'm sure that for Marty that was really hard. And he's not that way. So
Right.
we were like just a room apart, and so it's a lot of it is just really staying together and staying on the right page.
Absolutely. And what about as being a mom of a son who's been deployed to Afghanistan? I have a nephew who had been deployed, and I know for my sister-in-law it was extremely difficult. What can you share with other mothers on how you've approached that?
Yeah, that one's tough. This is his 2nd deployment to Afghanistan, and the last one was actually tough because it was right before there was like a huge breakout. We FaceTime, we text, and to be real honest, we kind of keep it as normal as possible.
Yes.
My husband knows exactly where he's deployed, exactly where the base is. I don't know all of that. I'm not a real geography, so I just pray for him, and we just kind of treat it as if, Mom, I'm going to tell you what's going on. And so it's very, low key maybe.
Right.
And he can't really tell us a whole lot either.
Exactly.
And really we try to support his family as much as we can. That's really
Yes.
kind of what we're trying to do this time. The last time he had just had his first daughter, so she was brand new. And
Yes.
so it's just the communication is the best way you can.
Right.
We text, we check in, but we're like 10 hours apart. So when I text him, he's asleep.
Right.
When he texts me, I'm asleep. So
Yes.
and again, it's just lifting them up and letting God take control because,
Yeah.
God knows what's going on.
Yeah.
Yes, it's scary and, he's away from us and we've all lived in the same city, all birthday parties together, holidays together. So it's, it's hard, but, this is his calling and
Yes.
he came to this a roundabout in a very difficult way. So him in the military is really something that he came to and it has made it his passion in life. So
That's
we
great.
know that.
Yeah. So there's a common theme I'm seeing here. It's communication and
yeah.
prayers. And so you shared a little bit about us with your youngest. So for those families out there that, are facing decisions on how to best care for their children with special needs, what do you have that you could share with them?
Oh gosh, you've got to have a support system. I think that's been, I mean, we've had to kind of work the system, which I have to be very honest, is very frustrating.
Yes.
But if you have a support system, my other three kids have always helped. We have friends that help. You know, my husband and I take turns. It's a full-time job. It's not, he was diagnosed at 2.5. He will be 22 this summer. It is, there's no letting up. I mean, right now we're in a time of life where he doesn't sleep. So, I mean, it's like up at 2 and 3 in the morning. And for him, that's normal. For us, it's like, oh my word, I haven't slept in a week. But again, it's just, relying on those people. I never say no to help. If somebody is willing to come and stay with him or, talk to him, or my daughter is fantastic with him, his teachers, the school system has been, rely on the people that are there. There should be more done for them. I will say that. It's a broken system. I will say that. But it comes around eventually. It took us 22 years to get assistance, but it came. It came eventually, and luckily we were a strong family anyway, so we made it work. We kind of did everything without a lot of help, and we've kind of come to the place in our life where we just need help, and luckily everything has come to place for that. Yeah.
So just in case there's somebody in our audience who has the power, let's say, to help families with special needs children, what would be like the top 3 things that you would say if our society, if our system had this? These would be, while there could be a whole long list of things that we would need, what would be the top 3 things that if someone in our audience had the power to help families, what would you say?
I just think the process to even know from start to finish how to get assistance. And that could be anywhere from education to finances to, like Daniel's at the time where he's aging out of school. Well, what do we do with him next year when he doesn't go to school? So we knew it was coming. But those kinds of things, we've had a lot of advice over the years that have kind of led us in different directions and not necessarily the correct way to go. I would just say, how do I start and how do I continue to get that assistance? Because it's a very mucky water type of system. And there's got to be somebody out there that knows how to do it. And maybe that, if you knew, and I don't think anyone with a special needs child is not willing to do the work. It's just if you're not pointed in the right direction, sometimes you're we wasted many years doing nothing because we thought the school system was it. And there are other things out there. Again, we didn't necessarily need it then. But then when you do, it's like, okay, I haven't done any of the work because I didn't know. So I would say anybody that's knowledgeable enough to walk somebody through that process to get them from start to finish. And again, that finish could be services, could be a support system, could be finances. It depends on the level of the special need. Daniel is in his mind about 4 or 5. Still not potty trained. He's very severe. So, some are very capable of living on their own. And so that would be a different source of, resources.
Correct.
So I guess it would be the process and the resources, I guess, would be,
Yes, absolutely.
So if I may,
Yes.
thank you for coming, Mother
Oh,
Bell.
of course, anytime.
We're looking forward to
You
this.
guys are my heroes.
Well, thank you. So you fall basically in 2 categories, April Autism Month.
Oh, that's true.
And then Mother's Month. And I know you're a mother of 4 beautiful children, and you have 1 girl.
Only one.
1 little precious girl.
And she was told us that she was a boy. We thought we were going to have a little basketball team going. Yes. Cried for days after that information.
Wow. And you have a musical family, because I know both Andy and Rebecca, they rock it out all day long. And we had the privilege of having Rebecca on our podcast back was that in January? In December, maybe. And she's one of our models, and she really rocked it out. But she is getting married.
Yes, she is.
So your little girl is fleeing the nest. How do you feel about that?
A little sad. I'm going from a full house to an empty nest really fast, but proud of her. She's my hero. Truly. She truly does everything top notch. Loves well, serves well. works well. She's teaching very difficult middle schoolers right now and doing a fantastic job. Took this on without a lot of prep for it, and she just does everything well to 100%, and that didn't come just from me. That came from God, and she just she's a wonderful young lady. She's my best friend at this point in life.
And she's a wonderful big sister.
Yes, she is.
It's just the dynamic that I've seen between the two of them is just commendable.
Yeah, so she has her yearly concert that goes to, support autism. I have a nephew who is also autistic. So all the money goes to that organization for special needs and services for kids up in Virginia. So yeah, she does it every year, and Daniel always sings with her, and they have a good time just preparing for it. You've got to be in my house when they're practicing for the songs and the dance. It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Yeah.
Well, it's so wonderful to hear you, Sherri, talk about all that you have been through. And I'm sitting here thinking 20 years. I remember when Daniel was born and when he was in the church with us, and how he was in Sunday school, and how everyone rallied around the family. And like you said, the support system is critical.
Huge.
But what really stands out to me this month, Sherri, is your roles, all the roles you play.
Oh, well, God's blessed me with a lot of different jobs.
Yes. And so you were somebody's daughter and somebody's sister, and then you became a wife, and then this powerhouse mother. And in the middle of that, you've carried on your teaching profession. And to all of you women out there, you see in Sherri the epitome of the roles of women, and how we take charge of our world, and how we have to play all these roles. And I want to ask Sherri to tell you, how do you play all these roles? How do you go from sister and daughter and wife and mother of a military person, mother of someone who is dealing with autism, mother of an only girl who is getting married in a few weeks, and now she's going to have an empty nest because Daniel is going into a special home, which is what will be best for him. And I think it's awesome that she's a teacher, and two of her children are in the teaching profession also. So how do you do that, Sherri? How do you fulfill all these roles?
Just
and
one
do
day
it
at a time.
so well.
One day at a time. I get up in the morning and I start fresh every day. Somebody taught me a long time ago, take in a breath of good and breathe out the bad, and just stay as calm as you can and face whatever comes your way. And I've been very lucky. God has blessed me with strength to deal with whatever he gives me. So, that's not to say that as I get older, I don't deal with things as well as I used to, but I just really believe in just placing it in his hands, just taking it day by day. And if you need a little time for yourself, I've learned to do that as well. Awesome. Just kind of get in a quiet place and again, just get through each thing as it comes. And
let me not forget the best role ever. You're a grandmother. Tell us about that.
Yes.
Tell us about your role as grandma.
Oh, I love my grandbabies. I was blessed with one through marriage, Sabrina. She is, I believe, 10 going on 11. She is an angel, absolute angel. And then we got Aria, who I'm not supposed to say anything about favorites, but she's kind of my clone. So she is just a handful and sings and dances. She is 3 going on 4. And then we have Maverick. And Maverick is Jeremy, is the epitome of Jeremy. He's just a mini Jeremy, and my son Jeremy is an epitome of his father Marty. So it's kind of like they're going down.
Clones.
You put the 3 of them together and they've got the same facial.
Wow.
So, and he's a handful. He is a true boy. Lots of energy. But I love spending. In fact, we're going to Disney on Ice in a couple of weeks.
Wow.
I can't wait. We were
Wow.
invited and said,
Nice.
"Oh yes." They want me to go to Disney World, and I told them I've already put in my time. I can't. I cannot
old
do that
is
again.
Maverick?
Maverick is 2. He is 2. He's in that terrible 2s, but he's a sweetie.
Oh.
Yes, they're all great kids. And unfortunately, we don't see them as often as we need to, especially in COVID. They've, kind of stayed home. She's homeschooling all of the kids and, for safety purposes. So we haven't seen them as often in the last year, but through FaceTime, and we keep up. Yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun being a grandma. It really is.
Yes, it is.
So you mentioned one thing, and it would be great just to kind of close it off with this. is you mentioned retirement is on the horizon, and you'll never stop being a teacher. But what are you planning for?
People ask me that. I have to take a year off because I'm in the drop program. So
Okay.
my plan is to just kind of, well, again, we'll have this new house and we've got some things that need doing. But I really want to go back and have my very own classroom where I don't have I've had a lot of administrative responsibilities in the
Okay.
last few years. So I'd like to go back and just teach until I just can't. I'm not tired. I'm not burned out. Maybe because I've been a coach and not in the classroom with the
Right.
kids. But I really would like to just keep teaching, have my own classroom and, just have fun.
Yeah, well, that's great. So anyone out there in a few years, if you're looking for someone who you want to come in who has a wealth of experience across many different disciplines, because we can see that she knows how to continue to learn and reinvent and share that with others. So in a couple of years, you may just have someone who's special for your classroom.
Oh, thank you.
So thank you so much for
thank
spending
you.
time with us today, for sharing so much of your family with us, and for sharing just all these wonderful tips that hopefully our audience can benefit from.
Oh, thank you. This
Thank
was an
you.
honor.